We continue now with Command Performance. Would you please welcome MCA recording artists, The Tragically Hip.
Blow the dough. They shot a movie once in my hometown. Everybody was in it from miles around. Out at the speedway, some kind of heavy thing. Well, I ain't no movie star, but I can get behind anything. Yeah, I can get behind anything. Get it out, get it all out. Yeah, stretch that thing. Make it alive, make it alive. Least till the summer rain. While the taxi driver loves his rhythm, never like to stop. Though the passion in some just think him off. Well, sometimes the faster it gets, the less you need to know. But you gotta remember, the smarter it gets, the further it's gonna go. When you blow it high up, oh, when you blow it high up. Whoa, baby, I feel fine. I'm pretty sure it's genuine. It makes no sense, no, it makes no sense, but take it free anytime. Whoever fits up usually gets hurt. It was the strangest thing. How'd you move so fast into that wedding ring? Well, sometimes the faster it gets, the less you need to know. But you gotta remember, the smarter it gets, the further it's gonna go. When you blow high up, when you blow high up, out at the speedway, same everything. Well, I can't catch her, but I can get behind anything. Yeah, I can get behind anything. The faster it gets, the less you need to know. But you gotta remember, the smarter it gets, the further it's gonna go. When you blow high up, oh, when you blow high up, yeah, blow high up, blow high up. Out at Speedway, same everything. Thanks a lot.
Command Performance. Yeah. All right, Gordon.
John,
How are you?
good to see you.
All right, you too.
Kind of
Command
nerve-wracking,
Performance, the Tragically Hip. This is kind of something that must be interesting for bands. Usually you're either going in and doing an interview or you're up playing, and here you kind of get to work both
Combine
at the
the
same
two.
time.
That's right.
Welcome to Tragically Hip. We have Gordon Downey, Gord Sinclair, Johnny Fay, Bobby Baker, and Paul Langlois. Welcome, guys. Actually, it's amazing, and I guess this was the whole trick of recording the new album Up to Here, that song sounds almost exactly the way it sounded on the record, and I guess that's what it's all about, eh?
Thank God for memorizing. That's right. Live.
Man at the helm.
Did you,
My
did you
eye.
record the album live off the floor?
Yeah, we pretty much did
much.
it the same way as this, you know. I guess we were a little louder, maybe. We're all wearing headphones. That
Mentioned Don.
Yeah.
The man at the helm.
Man at the helm, same guy, yeah.
Great, Don Smith coming up to work the board this evening.
Absolutely.
Doing an exemplary job, I might say, in there, Don. I mean, that really did sound. I mean, that sounded the same way it sounds on the record, and there's nothing more disappointing than going and seeing a band and, listening for 3.5 minutes before you figure out what the tune is.
It's great. We're in there listening to the Phantoms. It sounds amazing.
Absolutely.
Going out to the far reaches of the country.
Absolutely.
Let's start with "Blow It High Dough." I mean, it's a great title and everything, but what does it mean? Something your mom said.
Yeah, something my mother said. I think it's all about diapering or something like that. It's a pretty weird song, sort of filled with speed images of going pretty fast and having someone like your mother, or in this case me, pull you back by the shirt collar and say, "Whoa."
Okay. You went down to Memphis to work on the record with Don Smith, who's worked with some pretty big acts, names like the Traveling Wilburys and Tom Petty and Keith Richards come to mind. What was the reason that a guy like Don Smith would have obviously such a busy schedule, want to work with a band that, for all intents and purposes, is just starting out? I mean, what was it that caught his ear?
Bags of cash.
I mean, there must have been something that caught his ear to spend the time. He spent about a month recording the album, right?
I wouldn't want to speak for Don or anything like that, but the thing that really brought us close to him was the fact that all the bands that you've rhymed off that he's worked with are, a real basic guitar band kind of setup. Each has its own distinct kind of sound, its own kind of style. So Don's got a real, panache for drawing that out of a band, So we thought he was pretty much perfect for us to work with anyway.
He let you be yourselves, like just doing, was that the case?
Yeah, pretty much walked in and met him the first night and sort of went out on the town, and then after a couple of nights got down to some work, and when we finally did, it was very casual.
It took us a couple nights to whip him into shape.
Whipped Don into shape, yeah.
I guess that started at the Rendezvous Ribs, Elvis's hangout.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Did some barbecue coursing in our vans, and then we were fine.
What was the city of Memphis like? Because Don, I believe, works in L.A. You guys from Toronto. Why was Memphis the halfway
Kingston.
point? Or
Yeah,
Kingston. Oh, sorry. Pardon me.
Chamber of Commerce will be after us.
What's the question, sir?
Well, why? I mean, he'd worked at Ardent Studios in Memphis before, but
Right,
why was it Memphis?
Well, we had to sort of set to finding a place once we found Don, and we had a couple of weeks to do it. Don had done work there before at Ardent, and everyone, when he suggested Memphis, I guess people thought, well, that's pretty cool, and, maybe some of the terrain will seep into the music. At least that's what we've been asked a lot. Did any of the terrain seep in? And I don't know, and the other answer is, I don't know.
I remember Joe Walsh saying, somebody asking Joe Walsh why he'd moved to Memphis, with the great musical heritage. He said, no, man, it's the Ribs.
Yeah.
Or tax
Pretty well
haven.
sums the entire thing up. We're going to play Boots or Hearts here off Up to Here. What can you tell us about the tune?
Standard breakup tune, sort of boy meets girl, boy loses girl, and then boy sets out to kill girl.
Oh, beautiful. Kind of like Norman Bates goes to the high school prom. Norman Bates meets Carrie. Tragically Hip on Command Performance.
Thank you. Here's a song about the guy who
Been too late, I drive some back with me. I think you take that stand. Yeah, canteen, you always make the scene. You're crazy child. It's a sad as we get pissed. Don't you give that style. Make your trip, there ain't that much to miss when your mind's going wild. It's a sad thing about it around. You stop that feeling when you're living in a small town. You're lying. Things don't get you down. You're a top 10 kingpin in the borders out of your hometown. Within the borders out of your hometown. Within the borders out of your hometown. Your hometown. Your hometown. Your hometown. Yeah.
Small Town, Bring Down. The Tragically Hip on Command Performance. You said that song's not necessarily about Kingston, right? Your
I was
hometown?
just about to say before I was introducing it, and these
Yeah,
guys
sorry, man, I didn't
ran
mean to
into it.
script,
But I was going to
missed
say
that
it was about
entirely.
the dude that took over my job as the ball catcher, ball collector at the driving range. Sort of that was what the song would be about. But in retrospect or after the fact, it doesn't seem to hold up in the comedy area.
Well, when I mentioned you were a Toronto band, and automatically piped up. No, Kingston. I mean, you're pretty proud of you still live there, right? Pretty well. Johnny, you were saying, I think I heard you say something about not really being in Toronto unless you had to be for business.
Well,
Matter of parole.
Oh, so it does have to do with the parole.
no, Kingston's
We're pretty
a good town. It's a good place to come from, and we were all born there. Gord is from Amherstview, actually, which is outside of Kingston a little bit, but
The View.
the View.
You think of Kingston as a kind of institutional city. I mean, what, 11 or 13 penal facilities?
Oh,
as
no,
they
there's
say.
only 9.
Oh, it's only 9.
Yeah.
They cut
That
it
was in
down.
Kingston.
Not an awful lot of crime going on, but
Not into double digits. That's when we start worrying, you know.
But what was it? What was it like as far as a music city? Obviously, not one of the big towns, but there had to be something. I remember Gord, you saying something about hearing Daniel Lanois talking about Rick Danko singing the Lake Simcoe falsetto, as they call it.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
But,
I mentioned that. Yeah. Well, yeah, I actually met Daniel Lanois the other day. So I didn't ask him. I should have asked him about it because I caught him on Much Music one day, and he was talking about, how Rick Danko, being from the Simcoe area, had this certain kind of quality to his voice. And I thought, well, geez, that's the first time I've ever heard anyone use those kind of, to look that deeply into sort of indigenous music or in Canada or something like that. So, because people are usually saying, well, it has that Memphis sound, and they can easily determine, music, in the States, they can say it has a California sound, but in Canada, is there such thing as an Ottawa sound? Well, here it is, with the Phantoms. And so I doubt it. In Kingston's case, there's an indigenous sound to Kingston. But I think that's what Daniel Lanois was talking about. And it's funny he didn't give us his phone number, so I can't call him up and ask. I think he wanted to get away from us as fast as possible.
Well, maybe it's not so much being from Kingston, but all having grown up together and being friends, I guess, well before the point where you're ever in a band together, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much true. Robbie and I grew up across the street from each other, so we've known each other since, I guess I was 0 and he was 2 kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know how it's really affected our sound. It makes life on the road a lot easier, the fact that we can all get along.
Is you set teams for ball hockey, or?
Yeah, usually
Us
band
against the
versus
crew.
the crew
Yeah.
guys. But we don't really like to talk about that.
They're
very
pretty
much.
fit.
Oh, the crew's a little better, are they?
Yeah,
A little bit.
A little bit. We're just more tired.
Could this band go on without any one of you, or is it the 5 of you all for one and one for all?
Yeah, it's the 5 Musketeers kind of philosophy. We feel the same way, that the guys in the Phantoms do about it. Everyone contributes their own thing to every particular song we do, on record or, live. And it just wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be as much fun either,
You guys played Small Town Bring Down live. We're going to hear Last American Exit in just a moment. Recording that first EP with Ken Greer from Tom Cochran's band. What were the big differences? I guess obviously beside the fact that Don Smith is a professional engineer producer and that Ken Greer is a professional guitar player who became a producer for that gig. How was it working with him for that first record, and how happy were you? You said it wasn't going to be too tough to make a better record than that first one because it was a demo, first of all, right?
Yeah, it was kind of, we had no idea it would turn into a record while we were recording it. So when we listened to it and when we finished it, we listened to it with that in mind. You know, so we were definitely pleased with what we got. It was just, you know, we didn't. Whereas this time we went in, you know, and a month before we knew we were going to record an album.
Did you think when you went to a record company with the first one, a major label, that they'd want you to re-record all the tunes? Were you surprised that they said, "Oh, great, let's put it out"?
Absolutely, very much so.
Yeah.
But I guess it really got the job done, and it got you the deal.
Sure it did. Yeah.
Let's take a listen. This is Last American Exit and Tragically Hip on Command Performance.
Thank you.
Yeah. Opiated. The Tragically Hip on Command Performance. Oh, and listen to that. Ready to take us away to that nice, warm desert island located conveniently in our minds. Now, we want to know exactly what you guys would take to a desert island, other than 5 medium-sized Speedos.
Yeah, we've discussed this a bunch of times before, you know.
Okay, I guess so. We'll start with Gord Sinclair first. I guess 3 albums you take with you to a desert island. 3. Let's say it's 1989. 3 CDs.
3 CDs. Well, we always argue this because we don't know if it's legal to take a double album over a single album. If that
Hold
counts
on,
as
the
2.
judges have just ruled yes,
Double.
they will allow a double
album.
record.
Okay, then I'd have to say my 3 would be Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones. Sorry, Gord. Never Mind the Bollocks by the Sex Pistols. And I think I'd have to say the Clash's first record as well.
Weird. Isn't it strange how the Sex Pistols, never mind the Bollocks, I mean, in 1977, so many people that hated the record now went out and bought it. I mean, a metal band back in 77 would never have, I'm not to say you guys are a metal band, but now it's kind of almost cool to see a metal band with a guy wearing a Sex Pistols shirt. It's strange the way things have changed over the last.
Absolutely.
Did you like it then, or?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I was 14, 15 years old and ready to go. You know, Dad wouldn't give me the keys to the Volvo for the weekend, and I was into that punk thing. I was a real rebel.
And if you're into it, your dad had to have a Volvo, right?
You guessed it.
Just the way to work. Bobby Baker, you're up next.
Yeah, Derek and the Dominoes, Layla and Other Love Songs. Jeff Beck, Blow by Blow, maybe. Maybe Sticky Fingers, something.
Stones.
Mid-period Stones.
Maybe.
Somewhere.
Stones seem to be the organic thread tying us
I
together
don't know.
here.
Gordy took Exile.
Paul Langlois.
Maybe Let It Bleed.
Well, I got to take Exile as well, and then you can't have doubles, man. You can't have doubles. I'm not going to be on the same island.
No, we're on the same island.
No, we are talking 5 different islands.
CDs for the island. You got doubles.
Rock and trade his records for a carton of cigarettes.
We were mentioning actually that it's great to see a guy actually doing background vocals with a smoke in his mouth. Very, very. You were probably chewing gum too, weren't you?
Yeah. Anyway, probably Infidels, Bob Dylan record.
Oh, good one.
Cerebral.
That's a very interesting choice. An 80s Dylan record.
Yeah.
Johnny Faye.
Jeez. Diamond Dogs was the first album I ever bought. So I would take that. I would take The Last Waltz.
Oh,
And I would take Dr. Feelgood by The Crew. Smoking record.
We have our 1989 delegate in there too, and Gordon Downey, finally.
Yeah, well, I just got my last one nipped, The Last Waltz. I'll come over to your island and listen.
No.
Get Your Yah-Yahs Out, I think, is a must. After that, I guess I would take Free Live. And then after that,
Excellent
I would
choice.
take...
Wait a second, wasn't that free?
That's
No.
Oh, you're going over to his island to listen to The Last Waltz.
No,
Oh,
Johnny's
okay,
got
okay.
The Last
Okay,
Waltz.
okay.
I missed it out. So what did I say?
Get your yayas out, yeah.
Barbra Streisand.
Okay, and my
Broadway.
last one is a tough one. Tim by The Replacements. I think I'd take that one.
Smoking.
good one.
Now,
man.
you're going to play a song that I guess you almost like, Train Kept It Rolling. Kind of an old standard tune. I guess most people would be familiar with either Yardbirds or the Aerosmith version. Now, this is, I guess, the Tragically Hip version. From which does this draw, or is it just totally different?
All of them.
Yeah, sort of all of them, yeah.
Just all of the above.
cheese fest.
Yeah, mostly from that movie Blow Up that they made that appearance in when they did that version of Stroll on. I guess it's the only film footage of the Yardbirds. We used to rent it and fast forward it through all the talkie dialogue stuff just to get the real art connoisseurs.
So you guys don't mind getting up and playing for us?
Not at all.
All right,
Not at
Train
all.
kept it rolling all night long, and it rolled right on. Yeah.
Watch your fingers on this one.
Good.
Man, my microphone keeps swinging around and around. This isn't easy to do, you know.
Beautiful and smart at the same time, and the only 4-syllable word she knew was faster, faster. Get along! Straight little woman, get along! On your way to the
Thank you. Here's a little Cajun blue thing. New Orleans is sinking and I don't want to swim.
The blue on the street, loose and complete under skies, oh smoky blue-green. I can't forsake a Dixie dish, so we dance the sidewalk clean. My memory is muddy, what's this river that I'm in? If New Orleans is sinking, man, then I don't want to swim. What's wrong? What's wrong? Can't tie yourself up for a deal. He said, I know you sound. Shut your big mouth. You gotta do what you feel is real. Ain't got no picture postcards. Ain't got no souvenirs. My baby, she don't know me when I'm thinking about love. The highway. She dares me to dry up first. Yeah, I write pretty cruel love letters that always find her at her worst. I write west of here than yesterday. I'm just kicking up some dust. I say patience ain't a virtue, baby. Patience is a must. Yeah, she gathered up all the jack-o'-lanterns. She took them out to the woods. She told stories and jokes to the smiling faces of our little neighborhood. Easy crowd. Sucking up to someone just to stoke the fire. Picking out the highlights of the scenery. Saw a little cloud, it looked a little like me. swing.
Gordon Downey, a true Canadian, thanking the audiences in both official languages. All right, you're listening to Command Performance from our big living room here at Eastern Sound in Toronto, and the Tragically Hip this evening. I must say, Paul and Bobby, stellar guitar work on that song. Really is solid. Very well done.
Steve Vai.
They actually didn't do it. I did.
Big bucks.
That was all on tape.
That was all on a new synthesizer drum Johnny's been playing for it. Now, I guess the question, naturally, after a tune like that would be, what would 5 frostbitten Canadian boys be singing a song called New Orleans is Sinking for? You guys, were you actually in New Orleans and the song came about? Or
Yeah, I
was
took a trip there once and had a profound effect on me. I was there during Mardi Gras, and so I figured I would put it down on paper and did so, and then we managed to marry it with some music at some point a couple of years ago or so, and just turned into sort of a staple in our set. It's one that we really enjoy playing, one that really gets the band up. And as far as why we wrote about New Orleans being frostbitten Canadians, I don't know, except that perhaps maybe it will appeal to American audiences. a shameless attempt.
Clawing attempt.
Who knows?
Hey, nothing wrong with Shameless.
It was originally Adolphus Town, is thinking. It wasn't.
How was it when you went into Memphis to record the record? Did you have the tunes already done? Did you go in there thinking, let's take things as they come? Was everything ready to go?
And I think we went down with about 17 songs, and it's almost the day we got there. We had a little time to kill, so we, set up with the acoustic guitars, and 3 other songs got written. So we had 20 to choose from down there that we were pretty happy with.
And you're pretty happy with the selection? Was it pretty easy to decide which ones were going to go on the record?
Yeah, it sort of filtered itself down as the session wound on. We were getting some pretty good versions of some songs, and some we weren't super thrilled with. So they kind of sorted themselves out.
Sometimes
for us.
you're happy with a song, but it doesn't fit with the set.
Does a song for you guys have to be able to be done well or pretty close to the way it is on record live?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we've always thought the band is being all about. That's still what we think of as our job, is performing live in front of people. And it's that's the only way to really road test a song before you record it anyway, is to get it out, and that way it sort of filters itself out on stage until you get the decent arrangement and stuff. And
we're going to play another tune from Up to Here called 38 Years Old, Never Kissed a Girl. I thought it was an interesting title because I figured, hey, 4.5 more years, man, I can beat this guy's record. Not a problem. But although you might think comically of the title of this song, it is actually a little more in-depth than that. And it's a really interesting story. You mind letting us in on it a little bit?
Yeah, sure. The only factual part is the beginning, the first line, which is about a Millhaven prison break, which was kind of a frightening thing, yet real exciting, because it was the summertime. I was like 9 years old.
1973,
yeah,
right?
Sure. I don't know how old I was, but I remember digging it. I thought it was really exciting. I thought, and I wasn't really scared about it. But anyway, the whole rest of it is just sort of imagining what it would be like, to maybe have someone in your family go to the big house, and then break out, and then come to your house and have dinner, and then, go to a movie. And imagining all those things, the song was written, pared down the sort of trivial stuff, like going to a movie.
Well, the good thing about being in prison for you guys is your families wouldn't have far to go to visit.
That's right.
I mean, there's always a silver lining, right? This is it. From Up to Here, you're listening to the Tragically Hip on Command Performance.
Live from Eastern Sound Studio in Toronto, Command Performance continues. Here, fresh from a tri-province tour of curling rinks, your host, John Derringer.
And here we are back on Command Performance, and my curling trip is only a minor inconvenience for myself getting back here for the Tragically Hip on Command Performance. So we've talked about some minor things going on. Let's get down to the real important stuff here, guys. Who's going to win the Stanley Cup this year?
Stanley Cup's got to be the Bruins. It's
Philadelphia.
Okay, so we're all in agreement here.
Bruins.
It's the Bruins, Philadelphia Canadians team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The two Gords are big Boston Bruin fans.
Well, we're the only guys that know hockey, really.
You guys off to Kingston for a couple of days? A couple of days of R&R?
Yeah, we got a couple
Club
of days. Yeah, Club Med back in Kingston. The lake's just getting that glaze over top.
That's
of it right
nice,
now.
isn't it?
That's right. Last few weeks of swimming in. Then after that, I guess we're gonna head out east for a little while. We're gonna do the centers out there.
We'll be appearing in the showroom in Tahoe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
very
right.
nice.
That's right.
Opening for Shecky Green, isn't it?
I think it's 5 sets a night. I think. Something like that, yeah.
That's a nice touch. So you guys really will look good in sequence, I think.
Yeah.
Very happening look. After those, after the East, how about back to the States? You were there in what, June and July of this year?
Yeah, we were there for most of the summer, and I guess towards the end of the month we're gonna take a swing down, hang a left when we get back home, and play the centers down there, Boston and Washington, and places like that. What was that place we played in
Postcard
Massachusetts?
cities.
Yeah, postcard cities.
Well, you've laid
Washington.
some very solid groundwork, guys. Thanks a lot for coming out. All
Thank
the
you.
best here in Canada and in the States
Thanks,
as
John.
well.
Thanks,
We
John.
really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Right
Thank
on.
you.
All right. We want to thank everybody here at Eastern Sound, everybody across Canada, and our floor manager, Andy Frost, as well this evening.
And Don,
But-
Bruce, and Mike.
Don Smith as well, we want to
John?
thank for coming up.
Can we
Yes.
thank these guys for coming
We
down?
can certainly thank our audience. Thank you very much. All right. You guys want to play one more tune?
Yeah.
This is Weight Comes Down, another track from the Up to Here album. You're listening to Command Performance, and before we let you go, we want to give you one final taste, Canada, this evening, of the Tragically Hip on Command Performance.
Thank you. This one's for the Phantoms and our good friend Don.
Afternoon, see a guy with rubies on his head in a shifting light, shifting like he was dead.
very much. Good night.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Command Performance has been brought to you in part by Molson Canadian, what beer's all about, and by Coca-Cola. You can't beat the feeling. The Sound Source Radio Network would like to thank the following for their help with tonight's program: The Tragically Hip, The Phantoms, and their crew, with special thanks to Don Smith. Also Jake Gold, Joe Freed, and MCA Records. Q107, Tom Henderson, Joe Mancuso, and the crew at Eastern Sound. Dave Simon, Steve's Music in Toronto, and our audience at home as well as here in the studio. Tonight's show was written and produced by Alan Lysett and Bob Makowitz for The Sound Source. Executive producer Jean-Marie Heimrath. I'm Jim James. Thanks for being with us tonight on Command Performance.